Let's take a look at the frame on this machine. Notice we've got massive tubing. This tubing is 1.5 by 1.5, and it's a 3/16 wall, which means it's very thick compared to standard tubing. And that same type of frame extends all the way to the back and down the sides and up along the bottom side there, as well as a similar type of frame exists underneath the frame. It goes all the way around. Now let's take a look at the frame on the walker. Now we'll notice that we basically have flat steel everywhere except for these uprights. Now these uprights are some sort of tubing, but they're not the main structure of the frame. In fact, if we look in here, again, we'll see that flat steel. Now the tubing that the Navigator frame is made out of is over 300% stronger than a flat stock or piece of angle iron. And I think here's the best way to see the difference. Notice how things tend to give and wiggle because there's not really a frame here. And the machine tends to have a lot of give and take to it. What is that going to mean over the life of the machine? Well, in not too long of a period of time, you're going to see failure in the frame in the form of breakage. We've seen machines come in that have had to have extra bracing added in by the owner. Areas in this part of the rear tailstock have failed welds and whatnot. And these are all things that are going to happen with some hard use and machine built to this quality. When we get into the tubing, this is a design that's used in race cars, and it's a very strong design. You're not going to have that flex. Let me try to wiggle this and see if you can see anything move in there. These are pretty solid. Another thing I'll draw your attention to is the exhaust system. Our exhaust is to the back. It's completely enclosed from the standpoint that it is inside of the frame perimeter. So you can turn and maybe you'll bump into something, but you're not going to bump into your muffler, as compared to here, we're completely exposed. And it's pretty common to get a smashed muffler with this type of design. Not to mention, somebody can walk up, put their hand or their leg on that. On this one, they'd have to try pretty hard to actually touch the exhaust. Well, let's take a look at some other maintenance differences on the Exmark. Our fuel tank, which I took the bolts out of ahead of time, or the nuts took out ahead of time so I could show you how that swings away for easy access. That lets you get into the side of the machine from an engine standpoint. And why would you need to do that? Well, just some regular service like cleaning your oil cooler here, replacing your oil filter for your engine. So it gives you some very easy access from a maintenance standpoint or getting access to your belts. In the case of the walker, they do tend to brag how fast they can take their engines out, and believe me, they have to do that on a regular basis once they get some hours onto the machine, because there's no other way to do much work to their engine in the position that it's in, especially if you had to do something like a starter replacement. You will be moving that engine to be able to do that. Okay, we're going to drop the bags back down into their closed position and take a look inside of the bags next. The door that I flipped up on the Exmark is the exhaust where all of your debris or your air comes out as you're mowing. Now in the case of the Walker, their door here actually allows for exhaust to come out somewhat in this direction, but it also comes this direction, which is toward the back of your head. So it's not uncommon to, on a dry day, need some sort of respirator to be able to mow with, because you're basically just going to get covered with some grass and dust in those situations. We're going to zoom in here next on the discharge area where the grass actually comes into the bag on the Exmark. You notice this is a massive discharge chute. We're 9.5 inches wide. Almost 6 inches tall, and it is a non-oscillating discharge. And what I mean by that is, on the Walker, their discharge area actually oscillates back and forth to try to get an even filling of the bag. With the Navigator, we don't need to oscillate that because we have such a massive impeller fan that's actually blowing the grass into the bag that there is more than enough power coming in there to fill the bag evenly. In fact, our bag gets so full, you can tell a significant weight difference in how much grass is in this bag if you mowed the same area with each machine and then tried to dump the grass. What you're looking at here is the fill alarm, and both machines are equipped with that device. And when the bag is full enough that you should stop and empty it, why, of course, there's a beeper that will go off and let you know that you better stop and take care of that function.